Hi, welcome to Buckingham News. My name is Joanna Hall. Our top stories: with exams just around the corner, Mental Health Week helps promote a healthy mind and body. At Bicester, we see classic cars turning into the smallest food truck in the world. We find out what it's like to be a zombie in university. This week is the Psychology Society's first Mental Health Week. Kirsty Thomas has the story.
If you walked past the Radcliffe Centre on the 14th and 16th of May, you would have heard an in-depth conversation on how to deal with exam stress and other elements involving a person's mental health. The University of Buckingham's Happiness Champion gave us an overview on how the week will look.
So I'm the Vice President of the Psychology Society, and I'm also the University Happiness Champion, which means I represent Sir Anthony's Action for Happiness to the student body. And so together with the Psychology Department, we're organising a week full of events. So I'm involved as a society member to help the department and our society to put this on.
Owner of Mind-Body Dynamics, Lena Sass, gave us some insight to mental health of today.
The great thing is that there are really good services now for mental health support, and there's lots of companies like mine and also wider organisations which the University of Buckingham give students access to, which can help people learn that whilst difficult emotions are really uncomfortable, they don't need to feel like the end.
So far, the week has been a huge success and has given students and professors alike reasons to care about their mental health. Reporting for Buckingham News, this is Catherine Matthews.
The 2CV at 70 project took place last Tuesday, and not only was there a reimagination of the classic car, but a team of students from our own university were there to help, running social media platforms and helping with the day's busy schedule. Max Cawthorne has the story.
The iconic Citroën 2CV celebrates its 70th birthday, and in the air hangar owned by Bicester Heritage, viewers were treated to a surprise in the skies. Dolly, as she is known, was flown in and then put on show, transforming into the world's smallest food truck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dolly.
The project itself was supported by 50 British partners and sponsors, amongst those the University of Buckingham, who made up the media team that helped with the publicity and running of the event.
Well, essentially, as you're aware, every couple of days or so, we'll get these emails from Jason Sinclair about these opportunities, these postgrad opportunities that we get. This is among the most important for the journalism degree as a whole, because it's teaching us how to run a press office and how to run an event like this on such a large scale, and it's an absolutely fantastic experience.
70 years on, with a new makeover and a little help getting the word out, Dolly was back in business with a new purpose. Reporting for Buckingham News, this is Max Cawthorne.
The time when Britain prepares for summer months by lighting barbecues and spending time with loved ones. But what if you couldn't do such a thing without the fear of eating your partner's brain? Unfortunately, this is a harsh reality that some of our students here in the University of Buckingham face. Raising awareness, Samantha Carmichael reports.
This month, we plan, wait and prepare for the inevitable. It is Zombie Awareness Month, where citizens take a small step to acknowledge the inevitable danger of a global outbreak. The ZMB virus has spread to Buckingham, and so far there is one known case in the area. Zombies are often portrayed as monstrous, uncontrollable beings. However, these labels are far from true, or at least that is the case for the university student Max.
It's hard to be undead. We have these crazy cravings for meat, raw flesh. It's hard to make friends. It's hard to talk to people. Everyone sort of runs away in complete terror. But I do what I can. The university, it's supported me. Everyone mostly just lets me get on with my studies. I eat raw beef, raw chicken, lamb, but nothing matches the taste that I need.
Biting. What have you got to say for yourself?
Can't help it.
Have you stroked the dogs to calm yourself down? Or have you bitten them too? You've bitten them too, haven't you? You bit the dogs. Never mind about dog bites man, it's man bites dog.
Our aim is to decrease their strength, eliminate them as threats and befriend them. But remember this, never let a hungry zombie into your home.
If you're concerned about yourself or a family member's well-being, call Vaccines R Us on 0800 123 123. This is Samantha Carmichael reporting for Buckingham News.
An event called Songs of Peace was held last Saturday evening in St Mary's Church, Buckingham. This occasion held in memory of the end of the Great War and the fight of the suffragettes a century ago. People from Buckingham were encouraged to come and enjoy a rich and varied programme that included music by Mozart, Sibylline, John Rutter and the Beatles, with a sprinkling of the wartime songs and anthems. Isabella Devine reports.
The Adstock Singers performed songs of peace, freedom, and joy from all over the world and sang songs in different languages. This was done to give people an escape from daily stress by rejoicing in harmonious music. The event used proceeds to help aid the Puzzle Center, which is a support system for early years autism.
I think every time somebody hears some music and it helps them to feel a bit more relaxed, that's hoping that's somewhere along the line, hopefully, of doing something. This one in particular, we just felt there's so much rubbish going in the world and everybody was so depressed, and we wanted to do something that would be about peace and lift everybody's spirits up a bit. And we wanted to support a local charity as well.
The event tonight shows that music can bring people together to promote peace in remembrance of the suffrage that people have faced in war. This is Isabella Devine reporting for Buckingham News.
Today, a special guest arrived at the Vice-Chancellor's house about his adventures climbing Mount Everest. Kezia Fentiman has the story.
Ondaatje Hall hosted mountaineer and writer Stephen Venables on Monday night for an enthralling fireside talk on the highlights of his career so far. Stephen is most famous for being the first British person to ascend the summit of Mount Everest without bottled oxygen. Stephen's adventures have not only taken him up the highest mountain on Earth, but also to the Rockies, the Andes, Antarctic Island, South Georgia, East Africa, South Africa, and the European Alps.
It's a strange feeling, utterly alone. So that was very moving.
It was lovely to come to Buckingham because I've never been here before, and it's always nice coming to universities to be surrounded by young, bright, talented people, which always sort of is uplifting. And it was really nice to have an excuse to talk about a great adventure on Everest exactly 30 years today after the event.
Stephen said he really enjoyed the evening and that it was really nice to see some young people there too. This is Kezia Fentiman for Buckingham News.
This week is Gluten-Free Awareness Week and looking through the pros and cons on gluten. Suki Sagu has more.
Researchers often call gluten intolerance non-celiac gluten sensitivity, because although celiac disease has similar symptoms, they are separate conditions.
It's hard to balance everything as a university student, and it's even harder when you have to balance the ingredients that go into your body.
The hardest thing that I've found so far is living in student accommodation, because people don't actually know, or some people know about my disease, but not everyone does, which means that they're not careful with putting gluten on surfaces, or they'll use like my plates and things. So if I were to put my bread on a surface that's had normal bread on it, it means it then gets gluten on it and I'm really poorly, but people don't realise this.
It's clear that gluten intolerance and celiac disease should not be confused or compared, as they are quite different. This is Suki Sagu for Buckingham News.
Proposals and talks for a new unitary authority covering Buckinghamshire are underway. Timothy Incombe has more.
The government's aim is to bond both the county and district council together to make a unitary council, making this the biggest change in Bucks for over 40 years and will change the way local services are provided.
The idea of unitarisation is that we will stay as we are, parish and town councils. We are the continuity council. We are the first level of local authorities for most people. Now, at the moment, most people are convinced that would be a good idea because that would bring things together that actually shouldn't be apart. So, for example, the district councils collect the waste, but the county council disposes of it. It makes sense to bring that together under one roof into one council. But in terms of the services delivered, there's not much change. Because most people now still talk about the council as if there's one council. And of course, as I've just explained, there are currently 3 levels of councils looking after the space that we're in at the moment. You know, there are 4 district councillors covering, well, 5 district councillors covering Buckingham. There are 17 town councillors. We just know that little bit more about our town, and therefore it's important that we're involved in decisions that affect our town in various ways.
Discussions are still in progress between having 1 or 2 unitary councils in Buckinghamshire. If you're a local resident here and you'd like to contribute to this petition, you can email the Secretary of State, James Brockenshire, at communities.gsi.gov.uk. The deadline is on the 25th of May. This is Timothy Incombe for the Buckingham News.
And now this is sports with Henry Quilter.
Thank you, Joanna. Barons took on the Brackley Warriors in the Northamptonshire Basketball League Cup semi-final. Sophia Rook has the story.
Despite an underwhelming tip-off and an extremely slow start, the Barons entered last Wednesday's Cup semi-final against the Brackley Warriors with a surprisingly positive attitude. However, the ball changed hands consistently throughout, with the home team countering all points the Barons put on the board. To add insult to injury, 2 technicals were awarded simultaneously for argumentative bench low, which saw Brackley break even and highlighted the no-nonsense reffing. Tough calls, and even a lack of, set the tone for the game as fouls from Brackley went unnoticed. Although rebounding was strong, the university team had difficulty finishing. Shaken by the intensity of their opposition, the Barons entered the second quarter more determined than ever to ensure a victory. Although the pace did pick up, the away team neglected plays and took some risky threes that they failed to execute. On top of that, multiple trips out of bounds and some questionable foul calls saw Brackley taking the lead on free throws alone heading into half-time. Emotions were high leading into the third and final quarters, as the Barons put everything they had left into a game they played all season to win. With the lead switched between teams, the Barons finally established a 6-point lead, which pushed the momentum and saw tactics finally come together as the pressure was unloaded. However, number 10 took a hard fall after anticipating an opposition shot that did not materialise, and the comeback from Brackley saw the Barons 1 point up with 1 minute left. A foul on number 1 in the last 5 seconds confirmed the victory, as both teams walked away with their emotions running high. As the Barons head into the final, will their determination carry them to cup victory against Division 1 team MK Knights? This is Sophia Rook for Buckingham News.
Basketball is a great way to make friends, relieve stress and exercise, all while having fun. The Women's Basketball Club was set up by Debbie Oddidson with some help from her friends who all share a passion for basketball. The first session had an excellent turnout and soon there may even be a full women's team. And now, back to the studio.
May 10th marked National Shrimp Day, and what better way to celebrate than with Matt Harris cooking his very own shrimp curry.
It's National Shrimp Day. It's high in protein, low in fat, and it's a beautiful addition to a balanced lifestyle. We're going to be making today some shrimp curry.
For this dish you will need 150 grams of shrimp, half an onion, 200 grams chopped tomatoes, olive oil, 100 grams of rice, a pinch of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of chili powder, and a quarter teaspoon of cumin, curry powder, turmeric and paprika. Get a saucepan and fill it with water and bring it to the boil. Then you can add your rice. This takes about 10 minutes to cook. Get your pan on a high heat and cook the shrimp for 2 minutes, then remove it from the pan. Dice half an onion and fry until brown, then add all of your spices. Stir well and leave to cook for a couple seconds, then add the chopped tomatoes. After the tomatoes and spices have combined and left to simmer for a while, add the cooked shrimp back into the pan.
This meal is cheap and exceedingly quick to make. For Buckingham News, this is Matt Harris.
Thank you for watching Buckingham News. We'll see you next week.